First question is the name of John Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What reports has he recently received on business confidence, investment and growth?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I've received a number of reports showing that business confidence is continuing to be strong and positive. For example, ANZ yesterday published its latest Business Outlook survey. It confirmed that business confidence remains elevated, with a net 35% of businesses expecting general business conditions to get better over the year ahead. Also yesterday, Statistics New Zealand reported spending on research and development by New Zealand businesses reached $1.2 billion in 2012, up almost 25% since 2010. And official data on Tuesday showed the value of exported goods rose $290 million, or 8%, to $3.9 billion in February, compared with February last year.
Supplementary question, John Hayes.
What observations did ANZ's Business Outlook survey make about business confidence and the improving outlook for the economy?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, the Business Outlook survey growth indicator is pointing to 2.8% growth in the economy during the year ahead. After accounting for seasonality, there was a rise of confidence in March, which ANZ said was encouraging against the backdrop of concern about the drought. It notes that the current net 35% of businesses expecting better times in the year ahead is well above the historic average of 8%. It also notes the services sector, which accounts for nearly two-thirds of GDP, is now the most optimistic, followed by construction. Finally, a net 32% of firms are optimistic about their own business prospects, and that compares with a long-term average of 26%.
Supplementary question, John Hayes.
Thank you, Speaker. What does Statistics New Zealand Research and Development Survey for 2012 conclude about investment in research and development?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, Statistics New Zealand noted that the almost 25% jump in research and development spending by businesses to $1.2 billion was very widely based. In fact, the increase was observed across almost all industries. Total R&D spending across business, government and higher education was more than $2.6 billion in 2012, and that in itself is a 9% increase over 2 years. Statistics New Zealand notes that as a proportion of GDP, New Zealand's R&D spending continues to be below that of many other OECD countries, and that's a long-term issue, but the trend is in the right direction, and that government funding directed at business R&D has helped grow R&D by businesses.
Supplementary question, the Honourable David Parker.
Were the number of hours worked in New Zealand in the latest quarter for which there is data less than the number of hours worked when he took office? And is that because the economy under National is not working for ordinary New Zealanders, or is it because so many people have left for Australia?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I don't have the exact data for hand for the member, but I do know he combs through the data to find convenient data at all times to continue to talk down the New Zealand economy. But there's no doubt there's still challenges in terms of job growth, and in particular in part-time jobs in the New Zealand economy. But what we are seeing is increasing confidence. We're seeing faster growth, around 3% year on year last year, which is actually bodes well for a continued pickup in employment in the year ahead.
Supplementary question. Order. Supplementary question, John Hayes.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. My supplementary is to the Minister of Finance. What factors were behind the encouraging increase in New Zealand's merchandise exports in February?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, and with the normal caveats about monthly statistics, but Statistics New Zealand reports the $290 million increase in merchandise exports in February was led by an increase in exports to China, which is up by over $250 million, or 49%, compared with February a year ago. Milk powder, pine logs and sheep meat were amongst the main exports to China during February. It is important to be cautious. The ongoing drought is expected to have an impact on dairy volumes in the year ahead, at least, although offsetting price movements will help contain those issues.
Supplementary question, Dr. Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. why is he encouraging Kiwi mums and dads to invest in Mighty River Power when the value of those investments is in doubt due to the risk of the Tiwai smelter closing?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, investors in the Mighty River Power offer will make their own assessment as whether to invest or not. But in terms of the matter the member raises, it's actually been well known about the Tiwai Point smelter and the reliance that Meridian places on it for many, many years, and these are not new issues.
Order. Supplementary question, Dr Russell Norman.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Hasn't Rio Tinto got the government over a barrel with regard to the Tiwai Point negotiations because they know that the government has committed itself to the asset sales and now they're going to try to get as much money from the taxpayer as possible because Rio Tinto knows that if the smelter closes, the asset sales program is bunk?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, well, whatever Rio Tinto's view is, it's certainly, if it's described as by the member, it's not shared by the government. And in terms of his supposition at the end of his question, I don't think that's the case at all.
Question number 2, the Leader of the Opposition, David Sherritt.
Thank you, Mr.